Hi, this is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. We often talk about the tropics when they're in a very quiet period. Sometimes a switch gets flicked and then they become active. Well, over the weekend, the tropics started to become active, and we're continuing to watch several areas in the Atlantic and in the Caribbean that pose some possibility for some development. I just want to iterate there's no active tropical system going on right now, but the National Hurricane Center does keep their eye on certain swirls in the atmosphere or areas where the models are indicating development could happen over the next 2 to 5 days. So you can see on the GOES satellite image, this is pretty fascinating. You can see a couple of things going on. There's the terminator line right there. That's the sun rising as the Earth orbits the sun. You can see that. It also happens when the sun sets. You can see that sunset terminator line coming across. But right in the middle of the screen there, you can see some disorganized clouds. That's the area of potential tropical development, and it's getting a higher percentage for that tropical development as well. We're also watching an area in the Caribbean Sea, not a whole lot of clouds with it, but some thunderstorms that could, in the next 5 days, show some slow development. And then there's a little batch of clouds near Bermuda, which is encountering some very strong shear, actually, up to 50 to 60 mile per hour shear. Nothing's going to develop in that. But the low-level swirl could continue, and there is a low possibility that we could see some development there. And then all the way over on the African coastline, there's a tropical wave. They're going to start to come over more and more and more frequently because we're into that part of the hurricane season where those tropical waves come off of Africa. We call them seedlings. They're possible tropical systems, but they need a lot of conditions to come together. So what I'm going to do is go over to remind you that this is a phase 0 update from the Fleet Response Working Group, the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment Playbook. This group has developed a playbook for the fleet response vehicles, the utility sector, emergency management specialists in states, and public sector public-private liaisons within those states. Also, the food, fuel, transportation, communication sectors have developed this playbook, and we're now in the monitoring phase, which is phase 0. So let's go on over to GeoCollaborate. You can see it's kind of active. It's lit up here. You can see all these X's. It's not quite playing X's and O's on the tic-tac-toe on the map here, but kind of looks like it. We're going to start first with the one off of Africa. There's a 10% chance that system is going to develop, and a little higher over the next several days. We'll be watching that one. The one over Bermuda we talked about, or close to Bermuda, that has a slight chance of development. Don't give it much promise there, but the Hurricane Center is monitoring it. And then the one in the Caribbean there that's close to the Yucatan Peninsula has some chance of developing over a longer period of time. We'll certainly watch that because as conditions move into the Gulf of Mexico, we're always concerned about that. Now we're going to focus on this one here in the Atlantic. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on it here and show you what it looks like. This is the area of potential development, and this is the tropical update, the discussion from the National Hurricane Center. They're saying, although the environmental conditions are only marginally favorable right now, as this area moves along to the northwest, conditions are expected over the next couple of days to be conducive for a tropical depression to form. So we'll be monitoring that very closely. And again, we have all sorts of observing system platforms going on. I'm going to turn on the global drifters. These are drifting buoys that are out there to gather information. Look at all those that are in the path of this potential development area. That's very, very promising. We also have Argo floats, which go up and down in the ocean and do profiles in the ocean, which is really very, very useful as well. And we have gliders. You can see the gliders that they almost look like torpedoes. They have wings and they go up and down in the surface to depth in the ocean, and send back data that we can take a look and see what's going on. Very good for salinity levels, for heat content, or the heat capacity in the ocean. for development and sustaining of tropical systems. So we have all of these observing platforms and even some sail drones out there that could be directed into a path of a storm. Remember Hurricane Sam, one of the sail drones intersected that one last year. It was very, very exciting. And so, so this is the path potential development for that system. We're going to be monitoring it. I'll zoom out here a little bit because you can see as it moves in this direction, if it develops into a tropical system anywhere in this area, it's not too far from the United States. You can see here's the East Coast here. And so we want to be very, very careful as we monitor this one, because that's what we want to do, is make sure we can talk about impacts of these potential tropical systems on all of us here in the United States, particularly along the coastline and anyone inland that could be impacted by any tropical system. So that's it for the update today. Just wanted to give you a peek as to what we're looking at this week. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications. This has been a Fleet Response Working Group Sensitive Information Sharing Environment Tropical Update on this Monday, August 29th. We'll be back with further updates as conditions warrant. Thanks for watching.